All right, so we're live now.
Right.
I love it, man. Every time.
Yeah, it's great.
It's really cool. It's really
This
cool.
is a classy production.
I tell you, we put it together, man. We get it done, man.
Sure.
Period.
Sure.
Period. Well, thanks so much for showing, for being here today, man. First, this guy right here is a legend in the SEO world. His name is Kyle Roof, inventor of POP, with Page Optimizer Pro, which is a software that literally changes the way the on-page SEO is done. Looks like we got some people that are showing up. Hey, what's up, Ray? Ray popped up in here. Ray Utility.
Oh, hey, what's up, Big Ray?
What's going on, man? And so we're going to talk a little bit about, Kyle has we're going to talk a little bit about search. We're also going to talk about agency things because Kyle runs a multinational agency. He's a jet setter, doing stuff at Chiang Mai and all that stuff, man. So
it sounds sexier than it is.
Yeah, I know. I saw a picture. I mentioned SoCo. They called me SoCo for a couple of weeks in college, man. So
me too. I just didn't stop.
Cool, man. Cool. So thanks so much, Ray, for saying looking good, guys.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it. Also, thanks for I know it's late for you guys. It's my 8 a.m., but I appreciate that.
Hey, it's a pleasure. It's a pleasure to be able to talk to you and for you to give us some time. So with that being said, let's kind of just jump into a couple of things. What if somebody's just coming on right now, Kyle, what's probably the most important thing they could do? One thing that they could do to help increase ranking?
Don't overthink it. Don't overthink it. Put your keyword in the meta title, H1 URL, one time in the body. That's probably 70% of SEO right there.
Yeah.
Like, say what you're going to say, and make it painfully obvious for Google. The Google can't mistake what you're talking about.
Wow. And you would say one time. And you would say one time in the body, even if it's like 2,000 words.
I'm just saying, like, people really try to overthink it in terms of like, like if you really don't know what you're doing, put your keyword, your exact match keyword, like the thing that somebody would sit down at a computer and type to find that page, put it in those 4 places.
Sure.
And then that'll actually do most of your SEO.
Good stuff.
Right.
Good stuff.
So
podcast over. That's it.
All right. Take care. So that's great, man. You know what I'm saying? Right. Do the thing that goes. All right. No, but I wanted to talk a little bit about high value. Now I know that high voltage. There's not a lot of information about what kind of brought you guys about, like how did you guys form, how did that start?
So it was 2012 or so, 2013. Andy, my business partner, he hired me for a project. I think I had like a profile on Elancer or something like that. And I think I responded to something, or he reached out to me, and we worked on a project, and it went pretty well. And we worked on another. And then Andy was like, "Hey, I think we should just start an agency. What do you think?" And I was like, "That's a perfect idea." So we worked together for a year and a half before we even met, because he spends most of his time in Berlin, and then he's Australian, so he also spends he kind of follows the sun, so that he avoids a winter. So then he's in Melbourne for part of the year, but that's how he accidentally opened up a multinational corporation on day one, just based on where we were located. So then as we hired people, or we kind of, as the business grew, you kind of take off one hat and give that to somebody else. We're giving it to somebody that's in Phoenix, where I'm at, or in Berlin, or in Melbourne. And quite by accident, we formed a multinational company. And what's been nice about that, though, is we have actual addresses in each of those places. And when people contact us, we can be like, yeah, we are local, because we are. And people do want that. People who are Australian want an Australian company, or people who are, what we found for us in Europe is people who are moving into the German market. They want a company that they can communicate in English, probably, but then also can handle German. And so we have German employees, of course. but English is our forward-facing language. So like a Swedish company, for example, can communicate with us in English and then move into the German market.
Yeah, it's
Kind of
interesting.
what we.
Kyle, it's interesting you should say that. If you couldn't do business in the United States for whatever reason, and the United States may not be your first choice, what would be your second choice?
You mean in terms of getting clients, or?
Yeah, getting clients and doing work.
I'd say right now we're about a third. It almost splits evenly between the locations on the clients that we get.
I'm saying if you had to pick a place to do business besides the United States, what market would you say is the hottest now?
That's a good question. I don't. So this actually kind of gets into like a discussion on COVID when people talk about niching down.
Yeah.
Something that I realized that we got very fortunate in is that economies change. You know, like the European economy could be doing well and the Australian economy not.
Right.
America's doing good. You know, whatever. And what I found is that it ebbs and flows. And by spreading out risk, I think is a good way to make yourself pandemic proof. I think there are people that thought, like, you know, getting into, say, the dentist niche, everyone always has to go to the dentist. This is a foolproof niche. And it was until people could actually not go to the dentist.
Correct.
So I think what I would recommend, if you can, is actually try to diversify. Get a couple of clients that aren't in the country that you normally reside in, because as economies move up and down, if you have a path to get clients from that area, you can then diversify your risk. You spread out your portfolio.
Yeah, that makes sense. The reason why I kind of asked that question was I kind of thought you were going to, well, Darren and I both have a mutual friend who does a lot of business in Dubai. Yeah. It seems to be a hot market for SEO and that type of thing. You have any experience with that?
No, we don't have any clients in the Middle East at all. Excuse me. But I have noticed that right now our European clients do pay more than the other markets. There is a higher kind of ticket value to a European client, and
easier to rank. Correct.
It is. SEO in other languages is easier to do than English. You can, I don't want to say get away with more, but on page is really huge, and you can go very heavy. You know, in terms of like your H tags, you go very H tag heavy and do very well. And the other thing interesting too is that you don't necessarily need links from that location. Like if you're in the German market, you don't need German links to rank, and anything will work. So you can do the same type of whatever link building strategy you like, maybe go a little bit heavier on the on page, and you'll probably do pretty well.
I think it's kind of funny that you mentioned that you and your partner started, you know, how things started, because that's kind of where Brett and I are right now with the way we're looking at doing things. It's kind of cool.
Yeah, we know each other about a year and a half, 2 years. We still haven't met, and in person, but we work together every day, and it kind of started off the same way. Interesting.
Yeah.
Yep.
The first time I was living in California at the time, and the first time I met Andy, he flew in from Australia into San Francisco,
right?
And I rented an Airbnb, and it was supposed to be like a 2 or 3 bedroom house, and when we got there, it was a 1 bedroom apartment. And it's like, I was like, so this was an accident. Like,
who set up the accident?
I know we just met, but welcome to my 1 bedroom.
That's awesome, man. Awesome.
That's funny.
Awesome. Hey, what's going on, Hanlon? Hanlon just said you're.
Hey, what's up, man?
Yeah. Hey, what's going on, man? Something that you have, I'm kind of an offer that you guys, in order for someone to come in and really work with your company, there's an offer that you have, and it's kind of like an SEO roadmap or like a strategy plan. You know, whose idea was that? Was that your idea? Was that kind of something that you formed over time?
No, that kind of stuff. So what's really fortunate for me is having Andy as the marketer of our company. You know, we're a marketing company, but you also have to market yourself, and you have to have different channels to bring people in. You can't rely on just one form of marketing in order to gain your own clients. And so that's part of our multi kind of stream technique. But what we're doing there really is it's essentially what we would do in a proposal anyway, but getting people to pay for it. I mean, that's the crass way to look at it, that people are paying for their own proposal. It gets rid of tire kickers, it gets rid of people that are looking for that proposal just to get that information and go. So not just tire kickers, but people are like, hey, I know they're going to give me some good info. So it allows us to get around those types of roadblocks or those types of problems. And then I'm sure you know the concept of a tripwire, where if somebody gives you $1, then it's not, will I give you money or not? It's how much I'll give you. So it's kind of setting a tripwire with the idea of they've given us some money. Now we're kind of then up to, okay, how much are they going to? It changes the mindset in a sales process. The other thing that we're doing there too is that, getting a sales team, when you look at milestones, is this like, are we a real company? Is this a well-paying hobby? Like, those kind of like things move up. Like having a sales team is one of those milestones, I think, and offsetting that cost, because you do have to pay people even if they're not selling, and you're kind of taking the risk that they will eventually sell, but you do have, I think, purely commission basis is not the real companies don't do that. You do have to pay something. So this does actually offset a certain amount of the cost of letting the sales team go out and do their thing in order to make that happen. So I don't know if it's the right approach for everybody, but it's working really well for us. And so the idea is that we do that roadmap. We give, we break down the niche. We break down where they're at, where their top competitors are at. And basically, this is what we would do. Like if you come to us, this is what we do. But anybody can take that roadmap and run with it and go with it. But it's also saying, like, if you like these concepts, if you like what we're talking about, then we can do this work for you as well.
Does your company actually reach out to clients, or do you only do inbound?
No, we do it all. We've got Facebook ads. If you accidentally click on one of our ads, you probably cannot escape us. Like we've got it. Don't make that mistake. So we do all forms. And again, it's diversifying. I don't think you can rely on one channel. And people are like, oh, I'm crushing on LinkedIn. Okay. It only goes so much. You get in there and you realize you might get a client.
Right.
But then there are other channels, and so one thing will blow up 1 month and it'll be terrible the next month. So you have to have multiple things.
That's true. I agree with that.
Cool. Something else I wanted to ask you about. I'm a member of the IMG community, and I love it, man. I love it. And what kind of, when you form that community, what are some challenges you see, like new members have come in? What are some hurdles that you see them kind of going through to get them kind of acclimated and going it? Because
you mean like to build a group?
To build a group.
One of the biggest one of the biggest hurdles in those situations is your platform you're going to choose. Facebook is easy to get something going and it's convenient, and most people have a Facebook account. But the problem is the perceived value. There's so many free Facebook groups that are great. So you need the idea of a perceived value that you're going somewhere else. But then if you do that, if you take them off of a traditional platform, which we did, you have to help them through the process of logging in. People logged into Facebook one time and they may have forgotten their password, and it's been years. They're just going every day from all their devices. And so it's not really an issue. Getting people to sign up for one new platform is a big ask. So you have to have support set up that you can get people actually in, and those and that was something I really didn't think too much about when we were doing this, was that people got to log in.
I like the app, man. The app is fantastic.
So we're built on Mighty Networks. That's not a secret. Like they are a Facebook competitor, if you will, and we're on one of their higher plans, so we get a few bells and whistles. Okay. But on their basic plan, you can get something that looks very similar to what we have. There's not much difference in terms of like the functionality of the platform. And if you're looking to do something, it's not a bad road to go. Just because I think there's that idea of this is a special thing. You're paying for this. Now you're in the special location. Your special information is here. That's kind of what we're going for. I think overall that's working pretty well. One thing that we're going to get away from though is the freemium model, where you have like a free section and a paid section. Because I think that, again, the perceived value, people will be like, well, I'm in the free section. Why shouldn't I just stay there? Especially if they're getting value out of it. And what I realized is that really the whole thing should be paid. Like there's so much value going on even in the free area. We're servicing people that will never convert.
Right.
It's the idea of like they're here and they're like, oh, this is so great, I should now pay. I don't think that happens. I don't think that mindset actually works. Right. The free to the premium in these types of group settings, because there are so many groups.
I agree. I think a free 30-day or trial period I think is better.
I totally agree with that.
If I could kind of back up on something that you said, and it was very interesting how you said that you work with people all over the world, basically, right? You have sales team all over the world. Do you use a dashboard? Is there a certain dashboard where everybody logs in?
Yeah, we
or did you build your own?
HubSpot is what we do.
Yeah.
Because it has a calendar function as well as the sales tracking and the funnel. Because we have different funnels kind of that you can track in. I work so little on that. Again, that's Andy's whole thing, and that's gone really super well.
Yeah, that's good. The reason why I say that, I'm the Andy of this company, and Darren's the Kyle.
HubSpot.
Yeah, HubSpot. All right.
HubSpot agency, man. That's
crazy. Okay. Yeah, that's some good stuff.
Cool. So there are a lot of tools out there. That do kind of moving on to the technical, the SEO part of things. There are a lot of tools out there, and I know that I love Pop, and I love the fact that Pop is it not only if you're able to optimize around the keyword, you're able to pick up a lot of other keywords. You're able. The tool has really grown, and it's gotten really robust. How do you feel? There's some other tools. I don't know if I should mention them or not, but there's some other tools that are out there. There's a ton of them, man. But one of them out there, it goes around topics, and it's more topical, and it's almost as a keyword. It has a keyword research aspect to it. Is that something you see Pop is doing going forward, man? Or I'm being
I don't know if we'll ever become a keyword generator, and the reason is that that's not our core competency. That's not the core purpose of the tool, and I think tools go off the rails when they try to become everything. We're an on-page tool, and the purpose of the tool is to write a page that Google will like. Right. And every feature that we add, and I appreciate, by the way, because I know I think you've been with us since like when it was free. Like there was about 6 months.
I was like, yo, man, this is awesome, man. What do I need to do? How much do I charge?
Right? You were with it when you would put in, you get an email, right?
Yeah.
Email it to you. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. So you're way back. Our entire goal will always be to help you write a better page, a page that will rank better. And so all the features that we add are to that mission.
Right.
And what we've gone out to try to do is that I'm sure that, if you properly optimize for a primary keyword, you win the secondaries. So that concept still eludes a lot of people, and you can use Pop and will accidentally help you do that. So you don't actually have to understand the concept, and Pop will get you there. But that's really what we're trying to do. So without being like a keyword generator and saying like, here are your keywords, what we're going to do is we're going to help you get to that point, whether you understand the concept or not. That if you properly optimize for this, you're going to win these secondaries. And then if you look at the interface now, we do bring in related keywords. Those are the related searches at the bottom of the SERP for your term. If there's some, here's a tip for you. If you see some of those that really make sense, those are your H2s, on the page.
Yeah, we've been doing stuff like that. Yeah, we've been doing stuff like that.
And that's what we say. Those we provide those so that people can then put them in. But if you properly optimize for whatever that primary keyword is that generated that related search, you will win those. That's how Google works.
Well, what's the next feature that you guys are working on in Pop?
So we're actually improving our content editor so that so right now we've got it where we have an extension, and in that extension you can get your recommendations in a Google Doc. Or you can get it in WordPress or Wix or Squarespace.
Yeah,
so it's right there where you're editing. What we're doing right now is excuse me, you can do that on the lowest level account if your account is open. But if you are on like an unlimited account, we give you a secret key, so you could give that to your writer, they put that into the extension. They don't have to log into your account.
Ah.
We realize that some people want an editor that saves their stuff so they can actually edit within,
Right.
which, you know, a lot of the big players, ClearScope, Market Muse, like those kind of guys, they have this sort of thing. So we're building that out right now. We've had an editor, but it's not that. So we're about, I'd say 4 days away from launching.
Oh, okay. That's exciting.
Type of feature.
That's
so
exciting.
that, I'm sorry?
Will that be something that will be added in at an additional charge or just?
No, it's the same thing. If you're on unlimited, anybody has access to it.
Right.
And then if you're on unlimited or
now,
agency or 2 higher plans, you can actually give a URL to your writer, and they can just put that URL in and they go right to the editor.
Perfect.
It's awesome.
Perfect.
Awesome, man. I tell you, I love it, man.
Yeah.
I love it. I'll tell you, man. Like I was like, so how can I do this as an affiliate, man?
Yeah.
That was one of the first things, man.
Yeah.
One of the first things.
I hope people know that we're just trying. You know, like everything that we do is trying to make the tool better, and it's also trying to make SEO more accessible. Because we're providing enterprise level data, but we're trying to do it so that people who are hustling, you know, can get enterprise level data at not enterprise level prices.
Right.
You know, that you can get this information and you can compete with huge as a one man band, you know, like
Right.
you can actually compete in this space. And also the other thing we're trying to do too is that you don't have to make a choice between our tool and something else that you like.
Right.
We're trying to keep it at a price point that you can get your on-page stuff here, and then any other tool you want to use for any other portion of SEO, it should be price compatible.
Yeah. That's true. That's true. You know, we used to use another tool. I don't know if you were part of it. I just forgot because it was years ago, but it was very, very complicated as to how to use that tool. One of the original tools that came out started with a C and with an A. There's 2 other letters in the middle of it. And it was very, very good.
Yeah, Ted, cool, man.
Yeah, okay.
All right.
All right.
Let's just IMG together.
I don't keep up. I don't keep up with the SEO soap opera. Just the soap operas that I create. You know what I mean? Just the ones that I create. You know, but that one was very difficult to use. You know, for the layperson. You know, yours is definitely a lot easier to use.
Well, you would definitely, I mean, so Quora is powerful. And the one thing that I'll say is that Quora is the only tool on the market that is actually doing correlational analysis.
Yeah.
If you want that, if you like that, the idea of, I think Quora is looking at over 1,000 potential signals.
Right.
It runs the 2 different mainstream mathematical computations for correlation, Pearson's and Spearman's. And then what's a great thing is looking at the best of both, meaning when both of those mathematical calculations agree that this is moving the needle, that's a powerful thing.
Certainly is.
There are other tools that claim to do correlation, or they let you assume that, and they're not doing that. You know, Pop does not do any correlation analysis. We like to say we're doing edge analysis, where the algorithm that we've built is looking at specific areas on the page and then giving you recommendations on what you should do in those areas.
So if Google makes an update tonight, well, how does that change in Pop?
We love updates.
Yeah.
You know, because Google can't hide. You know, the secret is in plain sight. Google is showing you the sites that it likes. And it likes those sites for one of 3 reasons. They're on page, they're off page, or a combo of the 2.
Right.
You know, that's the base level of what is going on here. So if an update happens, we can see the sites that moved in and the sites that moved out. We can run them for their on-page factors. And then what we're doing is we can, if there's an outlier, you know, like this page only has 50 words on it. The tool can ignore that. You know, like that's clearly not going to help them at all. We've also in the last year kind of tackled the problem of what if everybody is doing it wrong? You know, the idea. So you look at a roadmap, and by and large, most of the time, the roadmap is good based on the top 10 competitors.
Sure.
But every once in a while, you will run into something, or you have the thought in your mind, what if they're doing it wrong?
Right.
Will I be led astray? You know, if I use them as my roadmap, are they going to push me into the wrong direction? And something that we've really worked on mathematically is how to avoid that. And I think we're at a pretty good spot now where I can say they would have to go way wrong. I don't know what SERP. Like it would have to be one of my fake keyword SERPs. Maybe then you'd probably go in the wrong direction. But otherwise, you know, we're working on that mathematically a lot.
Right on. Well, I know it's we're wrapping up coming. I told you we just 30 minutes, man. I really appreciate your time.
We sure do.
I know you getting your day started. I did want to throw my name in the hat, or hat in the ring. If you ever want to get some more beta testers out there to help work with some stuff with Pod, man, holler at your
let's get you set up with an agency account and you can go.
Yeah, well, I got one, man. So yeah,
let's do it for free.
Yeah, right on, man. That's what's happening.
That's very good.
That's very good.
So before we go, I want to ask you, Kyle, if you didn't do SEO besides Darren and myself, who would be your top 3 SEOs?
I need to work on this answer because I get asked this a lot.
Really?
Like, I get asked, like, who do you follow? Or
I didn't ask you if you followed. I didn't ask you if you followed. I don't care if you followed. Yeah.
So one problem that I have is that, so I go on shows a lot. I speak at conferences. I put out content. I do my courses. Something that I'm always afraid of is stealing somebody else's idea. Even subconsciously, where they say something and then all of a sudden it ends up in a course that I've done. And I really try to avoid that a lot. Like, I don't want anybody to even think like, oh, you got that idea from so-and-so.
Yeah.
So as a result, I have unplugged a lot from shows. I don't watch a lot of shows, and I don't read a lot. The stuff that comes across my desk are when like people, hey, check this out, and then I look at that. So I don't know. I really can't name anyone like that would say like I always go to these people. The one thing that I can say, and one of the reasons that I moved to Thailand, where I live, is to plug into the SEO community here. In Phoenix, where I was living, there are 1 billion SEOs, but I never really felt that there was like a community connection. So I think if you can get somewhere where there is a place that you have people that are a sounding board, where you can bounce ideas off of in a kind of a safe place, like, hey, I think I should know this, but I don't. And give it to somebody, and they're going to give you a real response back without any kind of like agenda. That's your best SEO. That's your best source of information, is having a place to bounce ideas off of. If you're not bouncing, if you're not having ideas, I don't know what you're doing. So like that's what I would recommend, or where I would go to, and that's specifically what I've done.
Makes
to
sense.
Try to get into that kind of a community where I've got people that I respect. I'm like, hey, I have an idea. What do you think of this?
Right.
Am I off base here? Or again, like, they're talking about this. I have no idea what this is.
Right on, man. Right on.
You need people that you can say that to. So that's where I would go with who are the best.
Well, cool, man. Thank you so much, man. You're a great dude, man.
Thanks for having me.
Fantastic day, man. Fantastic day, man.
I really appreciate it, Kyle. You're a really, really great guy. Thank you so much.
All right.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it.
All right.
Be good, guys. Thank you.